Hey everybody, and welcome to another chapter of A Chapter a Day Keeps the Doctor Away. My name is Alan, otherwise known as Hisui, and I am from ReverseThieves.com as well as the Speak Easy podcast. And today I will be looking at Hayate Chapter 432, Shining Brightly. And, interesting beginning, other than Nagi not just kind of getting tired of watching the fireworks and wandering off from the big party, is recently I had a discussion with somebody who will remain nameless about how it's actually kind of hard on a person who rejects someone else. I mean, we think about how when you're rejected it's really painful and that's really obvious, but it's not easy on the person who has to do the rejecting as well. Oh, by the way, I wasn't the person who was rejected, so, don't write in a bunch of comments about, oh, it'll be better now. I mean, this was totally a unrelated conversation. But in many ways in Hayate, we get to see that same phenomenon. We see Hayate kind of struggling with rejecting Ruka, and he doesn't have it's not like he's like, oh, maybe I did the wrong thing, but he definitely does have a feeling that by making the choice that he thought was right, he has thrown away stuff. And then, that is painful. It wasn't like he just, Ruka was this horrible person that he rejected, and, thank God that's over with. More like, wow, well, Ruka may be hurting, but, Ayate's hurting too, although, we can't really say that to anybody. And as all single people will notice, when you're bitterly single, you will notice couples around you, and since they're fireworks, we have a few scenes of Hayate having to wade through countless couples, and this one couple wanting to, have him take their picture and, just being the most PDA douchebags possible, and standard. Plus it breaks. It's a important scene, not in itself, but it breaks a lot of the tension of kind of Hayate's pondering nature of, what is his life and his kind of loneliness, and, even if Ruka wasn't 100% for him, it wasn't like she was a bad choice, and that kind of loneliness, and really kind of in another manga they could dwell on that longer, but in Hayate that goes on just as long as they need it, and they've had some pretty emotional chapters, so I don't want to wallow in that kind of like sadness. So that couple, definitely helps break the mood. He goes back and he notices that, he missed Nishizawa's message, so he's all alone. And it kind of brings back that sadness. And then Nagi pops up and tries to cheer him up. And, it's Nagi, so she has oftentimes good intention, but not good execution. And, she tries to do impersonations and just like, I'm going to cheer you up 100%. I'm not exactly sure how. And probably the best scene, the scene that I used for this episode is, Nagi giving him the signature board with a picture of himself and, to Hayate from Nagi. And, it's kind of silly, and Nagi's obviously not the super best artist. Not that the picture's bad, but not that the picture is super awesome either. And in a way, it kind of breaks the tension. Even if it's not necessarily the best thing, it kind of, in a way, is more effective because it isn't the best thing. Because there really is no best thing. So, best to have something that's silly It kind of takes your mind off it. And I feel like in many ways, Nagi's thing about, looking back in 10 years is more a metaphor for their relationship than just that poster board. I think what's kind of interesting is lately in the manga, we're seeing a lot more of subtle kind of little interactions between Nagi and Hayate. I feel like in the beginning of the manga there's a lot bigger, grander kinds of declarations of their devotion or even kind of love. But now I feel like they've kind of, although they're not really in a relationship, they've kind of settled into a lot more. And some of the anime, like Can't Keep My Eyes Off of You and Cuties, has big, grand things, but I feel in the manga he's spending a lot more time focusing on kind of the little bonds between Hayate and Nagi. Kind of the little things of how they pick each other up and how they kind of support each other. And then, not defeating monsters or making these grand pronouncements of love, but kind of these subtle little, like, Nagi knowing when Hayate needs to be alone, but then also knowing when he needs somebody to talk to. And I don't know, that was probably the warmest part. Once again, Nagi not fully knowing how to cheer Hayate up, but knowing that he needed to be cheered up. And in many ways I feel that's more than the silly mask or the impression of Sailor Moon or the pencil board or the big declaration. Just the fact that Nagi was trying so hard, I think it was the kind of thing that broke the tension the most. And I think there's kind of a subtle shift in the manga, which I really like. That their relationship is a little deeper than it was in the beginning, and possibly than a lot of these kind of shonen romance relationships are. But as I said, this is the official end of the Dojinshi arc. They go into the beach, so it's probably going to be a silly arc, which, once again, there was a lot of heavy feelings going on, so something that at least starts light and fan servicey is probably what the manga needs right now. Although I am kind of majorly peeved that unless it's in some kind of flashback, we are totally not going to learn what the doctor said about Hayate's brother. And I'm really looking forward to that, so I'm a little grr, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure bathing suits and hysterical fun will make up for that. Alright, see you guys in chapter 434.